Have we shared all that prior also? Yeah, I thought we had. Okay.
But it's a farm money. At the same time.
All right. Thank you for joining us for a few orders on call, right? I'm going to do a couple of introductions, and then we've got a little bit of just community business that we actually need to take care of with support meetings of review and approval of budgets, and then also a policy, and then we'll jump right into town hall. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce. We have Brad Shelton with Brookville here, and then we also have Matt Chase here. We also have Matt as a board member here, and then we have Blake McAllister is actually on the phone, which is a board member as well. So I'm Stephanie. I'm the executive director here. Here in the room, we actually have Angie Castro. Y'all, some of you may have met her. She is actually new to this the last couple of months. She is our new community operations manager. We have Paul. Everybody knows Paul. And then, you know, we've got the community life team here. So we actually have Emily, who is one of our ambassadors. You'll probably see her at the front desk quite often. And then, of course, on our team, we have John and Romero and Chris and Nick, and we have Jody. If y'all haven't met Jody, he's actually one of our porters that he's around the community quite often. So if you ever see us, please stop in the office, say hello to us, wave to us.
It's kind of an odd.
Yell at me, whatever you need.
I don't want to go, I don't want to answer. I'm not doing that. Okay, good.
So we're going to go ahead and get started with the Easton Park Master Board meeting. On the agenda, we'll go ahead and follow the order, and then we've got quorum, and then we'll actually review and approve the budget, and then adjourn and then time moving forward.
Awesome. So I'll go ahead and call the Easton Park Master Board of Directors meeting to order at 6:38. We have quorum, we have myself and Blake McAllister on the phone. So the item on the agenda is review and approve 2023 operating budget.
Total assessment is $1,390,410. Enforcement revenue is $23,702. Enforcement revenue are your design reviews, your fines, collections, legal fees, late fees, things like that. Your property transfer is $96,408. That's your community enhancement fee in the working capital. Programs and amenities, that's $60,726. That's your reservations, your fitness revenue, the revenue that is collected from like sponsorships for our programming events, and any advertisement. And then on other, that is the mud reimbursement or your access, the box, things like that. That's $184,368. So your total income is $1,755,614. On expenses, administration is $1,372,212. That's like software, your music subscription for the gym, that's legal fees, collection fees, management, supplies, things like that. Amenity maintenance, that's $208,730. That's for your amenity repairs, pool maintenance, your pool attendant, lighting, HVAC, pretty much anything that's inside the amenities. Utilities is $306,946. That's going to be your water, electric, gas, internet. That's actually on your amenities here. Landscaping is $1,014,893. That's your landscaping contracts, your repairs, irrigation repairs, any community enhancement. That's in that category. Engagement is $118,934, and that is actually for events, your programming, neighbor network, your holiday decorations, our coffee machines, things like that. Reserve is $41,688. So this gives you a total of $3,071,403 for expenses. As you can see, your expenses are more than your income, so you've got a net loss of $1,315,789. So with this, we are proposing an increase for 2023 monthly assessments to $60 a month. Does the board have any questions?
Yeah, so overall, our expense increase from 2022 to 2023, I think was about 14-ish%. And then inflation this year has been anywhere from 8 to 9. And I think we didn't even split the baby. We went less than what the inflation rate was for assessments. So y'all see the big number down at the bottom there, $1.3 million and not lost revenue, but deficiency. So we need to start closing the gap between that number and what the association is spending throughout the community. So it'll gradually, and we say this every year, expect an increase every year, it'll gradually go up until the association is self-sufficient, and the reserve allocation can continue to increase as well. So you'll start to see that every year as the community begins to age. So other than that, Blake, did you have any questions?
Hey, Matt. No, I don't have any questions on that.
Like, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
And technology.
Matt, can you hear me? Hey, Matt, can you hear me?
Okay, he texted, yes, I can hear you. In the town hall meeting, he said, yes, I can hear you. And I'm guessing everybody online can hear him as well. We just can't hear him in this room. Okay. So Blake, I'm gonna have you vote through the chat system here, and then Tiffany can record your vote. So I'll make a motion to approve. Can I get a second? He's typing. He seconds. All those in favor say aye. 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 All right. Motion approved. So we will go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 6:43.
Again, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order.
All right, so we'll call the meeting to order at 6:43. We have quorum, myself and Blake are available. First item on the agenda is the budget.
$70,516. Special service area is for the landscaping. Other revenue is $5,259. That's collection, late fees, legal fees. And working capital is $4,100. That gives total income of $101,698. On our expenses, administrative, that's $23,608. Your administrative was your coupons, statements, insurance, legal fees, collection fees, things like that. Landscaping is $73,394. And the reserve allocation is $3,800, giving a total expense of $100,802, with actually a net income gain of $896. This is actually with the proposal of an increase on your assessments that would take it to a total of $36 a month. That's with the special service area of $27 and the condo assessment at $9. Any questions from the board?
No, and same thing here for those that live in the EP residential condos here on the side.
It's just gonna be posted anywhere, so.
Yes, it'll be online. The condo, the base condo assessment, all that's in a really good spot. what you'll see throughout the years in fluctuations for Easton Park residential condos will be the landscaping. That's what will drive any type of increases, would always be landscaping. The administration fees, things like that, the management fees, those very rarely change. Reserve allocation, there isn't much to reserve for in the condos, so that number would never, blow up. And the only reason why you see that is we're required to put the working capital into the reserve allocation with state law. But the East Park condos don't really have to do much there when it comes to reserves. Blake, do you have any question? Typing. No questions. Okay, I will make a motion to approve. Can I get a second? All right, second from Blake. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes.
Notice was actually sent out to everyone towards the end of November. It's also available to be online. And so just wanted to kind of talk about the towing policy and why it's actually needing to be in place. Anytime that the fire department comes out here, they really struggle trying to get out of the streets. And we've got parking that's happening in the fire lane, in the rock area, at driveways, blocking people. And I get a visit from the fire department every time that happens. And so we have to put a towing policy in place for, from a safety standpoint, for allowing the fire truck to come down anytime they need to be the streets. So we have created a towing policy and it's been available to everybody to view. I don't know if the board has any questions or statements in regards to that.
I do not. Blake, do you have any questions? Nope. He says, no, this is needed. And I agree. When the fire department starts threatening to fine, the association becomes a bigger issue than just towing a vehicle. So I will make a motion to approve. Can I get a second? Second from Blake. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes, and I will go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 6:48. Thank you, Blake. Have a great evening.
I just want to give a quick little update from the community life team, and then I'm going to actually turn it over to Paul for community engagement, and we'll get into development with Q&A. If we have time afterwards, after we get through everything, we will take additional questions. So let's go ahead and get started. From community life, I just want to go ahead and address, we get a lot of questions about the pool umbrellas. We know that there's a request for them, we know that they're needed. We have gone through 32 umbrellas this year. That is from the winds that come out here, they just tear them up, they take them out. We are actually testing a couple of different umbrellas to see if they work any better, but we are looking at other options than just umbrellas for out there. So just bear with us. I just wanted to make sure and let everybody know I hear you. I completely understand with the umbrellas. We are working on it. So I just wanted to let everybody know we are getting there. The next thing is with the community life is something that I am very happy to announce. So may have remembered from the last time hall, is we talked about a leadership program. We are actually launching Spark. I'm very, very excited about this. This is actually a great opportunity for you to leave a mark on something. We are actually going to be taking up to 24 participants. We have sent information out, and we are going to continue to put this information out. So the Spark is actually, we're going to have an information session January 10th. So if you haven't seen the information come out, be on the lookout. Please RSVP. If you have any other questions on what we've sent out, please come. We are going to give a lot of information about it. And this is to give you more information about, to learn about the community values, the operation, the governance, leadership, and things like that. It is an investment and a commitment. It is a 10-month session for the SMART program, but it's expected to continue on after that. There's a lot of involvement in this. So again, if you're,
So this was in the email. Can you explain what exactly the role of these people? So you're like in the vision, can you say, give us, do they advise you or can you, like, what's the long-term goal, I guess, for these people? Could you speak to a little bit of that?
sure. So this is a program that's actually going to go through on a monthly basis. There's actually going to be different subjects that we are actually would be touching on. And so there's going to be different people that are going to be presenting because there's going to be projects, there's going to be involvement from the community. But again, it's to kind of look at understanding what Easton Park is about and what community value is and, you know, what makes the community. So again, very excited. We will have more information that will be available. So please come to the January 10th info session. That's going to be the first one. We actually already have the application live, so you can go ahead and submit your application. Those will actually be open from now and into probably the middle of January. And in January, we will actually select the 24 participants. And then the first actual talk will be in February. So again, something that I'm very, very excited about to be a part of. And, you know, would love for each and every one of you to please at least come and hear what it's about. So I'm actually going to turn this on over to Paul for the community engagement.
The community engagement team is really excited for all the things that we've done this year, all the things that are coming. So we've outlined a few things that are happening the rest of this month and a few things that are happening in the new year. But some of the things that I wanted to really touch on was our first ever dog training day with Easton Canine Academy. So they will be at Bryant Park at December 10th. It is from 11 a.m. all the way to 6 p.m. They have hour time slots. When you register with your pet for a class, free class, you end up getting a $100 voucher to participate in their other programming and training. So that is really exciting to offer to y'all. Also coming up is on December 16th is a Not So Silent Night, sponsored by Realty Austin. And also one of your neighbors, Araceli. So her and her realtor friends are providing all of the beverages, food, and the karaoke for that night. The other thing that is on our way is January 1st. It is our first ever polar bear plunge. We are partnering with Optimize Daily. So Generally Team will be here. We'll have food and beverage for a cold swim. But then I'll also educate y'all on the benefits of being in cold water and how that can help your health and wellness.
Ice baths are awesome.
And so when we go to the next slide, these are all of the photos that have incorporated all the events that have happened. So we had our first our annual turkey trot. Optimized Daily hosted that event. Right underneath the title. Then we had Dunkin' for Pumpkins. We had another karaoke night. We recently had Easton Made in the holidays this past weekend. It was a phenomenal event. We lighted our tree. We partnered with our builder partners to activate Marble Row. This entire street was filled with your residents slash vendors. And it was a really fun event. While I'm on this topic, some things that have got us to this point of where we are at engagement is that recently, or in this past year, residents had the opportunity to share their voice in the livability survey. And I really want to highlight some of those important things that y'all had related to us and that we took immediate action on either in this year or we will incorporate it into the upcoming year. So out of the 88% that took the survey, you'll have attended at least one engagement event. Out of the 91% that took the survey, y'all recommended Easton Park as a place to live to your family and friends. That is a huge applause to our team, knowing that you value this place, you love this place, and that you would recommend this to your family and friends. out of that survey, the 18% events are the number one impactful reason why you'll have a positive community of quality of life here at Easton Park. We take that with a lot of pride, knowing that engagement events are what engages us, what helps meet us neighbors, and creates those long-lasting relationships. With that feedback, we implemented more family-friendly events and more 21 up events. So collectively with our residents, our community partners, and then with the community life team, we performed and produced over 84 events for y'all this year. And we will continue to grow that number both in quality and quantity for the years to come. One of the biggest events that we've had this year is Wicked Walk, which was a few months ago, and we had over 3,500 attendees, and that showed up in record numbers. That is the biggest event we've ever had at Easton Park. And we had over 25 community partners activate an almost 1 mile trail of activations. Lisa and Sean, with all other residents, activated their own booth. Lisa and Sean, I want to give an extra nod to. They won their booth with Star Wars photo op and activations. But paired along, we had cakewalks that were sponsored. We had the costume contest. We had our resident DJ B Olive host and MC for the night. And all that culminated to a very successful event that we all loved and that we are happy to grow in the years to come.
For taking the livability survey. The livability survey is something that comes out every single year. We always, we want your participation because your voice is very important to us. As you can see, we take this data. We want to make sure that we are always hearing what you have to say and putting things in place that we fund it as quick as we possibly can. So when this comes out, the next one will be probably towards the beginning of next year. You'll get more information on it, but please make sure and answer those questions and be honest and let us know. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to the development team for our maybe development update.
Thanks, Stephanie. So first, I just wanted to say thank you to Paul and the rest of the team. What was it, 84, 86 events? That's nuts. I mean, that's a lot of events. That's a lot of cool stuff for this community to be able to participate in. So thank you. As a board member, I appreciate it. And as a developer, we appreciate it for sure. So Skyline Park is really the only update, and we've shown this before, but we obviously, when we do ask for town hall questions, this is probably the most asked question is, well, what's in Skyline Park? And when is it going to be done? So we don't have a hard date yet to share on when it's going to be done, but it'll be towards the end of 2023. So more details will follow as the project, gets moving along. You're seeing them moving dirt up there. But behind me and online, what you all can see is the concepts for the park. Well, not concepts. These are elements that will be in the park. So we'll have the splash pad with a lot of shading from trees instead of putting up a whole bunch of sails, shade sails. We want to keep it natural, just like the rest of Easton Park. We want to keep the park in Easton. So you can see a cover cabana area, and then in the background, back behind it, you can again see the splash pad and some of the play structure. As we'll have a middle to big kid play structure, and then the younger kid play structure out there, and a really cool surprise that I don't think you can see on there, so I'm not going to talk about it. Yep, you can't see it, so I'm not going to talk about it. But once we get closer to that, we'll put it on there. And then this upper right picture, I believe, is a bridge bridging the two playgrounds together. Yeah, okay. And that's it for our update.
What is the time for the park for Union Park?
So feel free to fact check me when I say this. there have been a ton of delays from the city of Austin on issuing permits. It's not only Brookfield, it's a lot of developers. You'll probably read in the news. I want to say it was a couple months ago. City council approved to increase the budget for the permitting department because of this issue. So they're putting some money to solve these problems that we and other folks within the city of Austin are experiencing. So right now, the goal is to start in Q2 of next year, if we can get that permit. So unfortunately, we're being delayed by the city right now. And our hope is that we can get started on that soon.
What is the plan for that?
So Discovery Park is already completed. So yeah, that's already done. So new home sales will start out there next year, and then Prospect Park. And I'm wondering if the person that asked this may have been thinking about Discovery Park, may have been thinking about Prospect Park. That area will have a large signature park and 4 small pocket parks. We don't have any info to share on that just yet, but once we do, we'll be happy to bring it to a town hall during our next development update.
Park in the future.
So the Union Park West Park, we worked with the residents there, and pickleball courts were one of those things they wanted. So we'll have pickleball courts in the Union Park West Park. And then as far as future parks, we drive it home. I want to say every single town hall, that livability survey is extremely important. Fill that survey out. I know that the team, the Cohere team, also sends out additional surveys when we want to really focus in on certain amenities, asking what the community like to see. So please participate in those surveys. Those are extremely important for us. That lets us hear what a large number of residents want to hear, instead of, small groups where, this one group might be really passionate about volleyball, but not everybody in the community is so passionate about that. And we don't want to put a volleyball court in that, only a few folks use and everybody else is like, wow, why didn't we do this, do something else? So please fill those out, and that'll help guide us for future amenities. Yeah, we try to put all those different aspects within all of our parks.
Add shade structures to existing parks or any new parks.
So no, we're not planning on going backwards and adding shade structures. In some parks, we might add a few shading areas, shade structures to seating areas. But typically, again, it's Easton Park, so we want to have trees, we want to have nature providing that shade. I know right now it's kind of small, but in the long run, that will be a major benefit to this community, instead of sails and steel poles that you have to replace and maintain constantly. Yeah.
To be completed.
So just like we talked about with the Union Park West Park, it's the same thing. The folks that own that site are having the same permitting issues that we are. You might see them start moving some dirt. I think I was told for some utility installation, or at least digging the trenches for utility installation, but they don't have any permits yet. They're stuck in the same rut as everybody else right now.
What businesses will be coming to the commercial development?
Oh. Okay, so they're saying online that they can't hear Tiffany, so I'll repeat these. Where are we? Oh, what businesses will be coming to the commercial development? So we provided that list previously. I think Tiffany can pull that out and we can just get it on the association's website. We provided it. I think we provided a plat of what's going to be out there with the business names and everything. So we'll make sure that it's on the association website. So I can't, to be honest, I can't recall off the top of my head. You know, because he's sitting here and I'm just gonna let him. I want Brad to be able to talk every once in a while.
Thank you. You didn't give me the easy one. The short answer to this one is we don't yet know. So we're working with the Idea School who owns that property. They have made the decision now that they're not going to move forward with their school. They still own the site and we're working with them as we speak to come up with a solution. So that's about as far as we've gotten. I think we shared that same feedback at the same town hall about 90 days ago. We don't have any more information that we can share.
So I'll read them. Is your mic working up there? It's not working. But they can't hear. Oh, is it? Okay. So I'll read them so we don't have to, then it'll be weird. So are there plans for the mailbox areas in Kiki Park? Mailboxes are in. If y'all remember Matt McCafferty, when he used to join me up here, we talked about, you know, mailbox kiosks will be different and as we go throughout the community. So what's there is there. We won't be making any changes for those. Is Kiki Park going to get new signage and when is the expected installation date? So I'm also going to add Union Park West to this because we're going to be changing the Union Park West signage to match everything that you've seen go in throughout the community. So it's one cohesive look. And that is expected to take place around Q1, end of Q1 of next year. So it'll be coming up soon. You'll see the the Kiki Park sign go down probably here pretty soon. What about the Union Park West? Yeah.
It's all in the works.
Okay, so yeah, you'll see the demo happen first, and then, you know, a few weeks following that, we'll get it moving. What is the timeline for completion of Colton Bluff? And you know, I just realized we didn't introduce AJ. So AJ is our Director of Development out here at Easton Park. So there you go. There's AJ. So when you see me going, hey, is this right? He's telling me I'm not saying bad things. When is the completion timeline for Colton Bluff? So they're being striped right now, or they have been striped. They still need to pass inspection and then be accepted. And additionally, the medians you see going down Colton Bluff between Skyline Park and Union Park East, those will all be taken out. Then they're going to add a bike lane and restripe it. All of that should happen over the next 60 days. Oh, that's right. I'm reading. I'll get it. I promise. Are there any plans to add streetlights throughout the community? We practice dark skies in the community, so no. In certain areas, high visibility areas where intersections where it's required, we put additional lighting, but no. Are there plans to add lighting? That's coming up. That's coming up. Yeah. Trust me, that and Skyline Park are probably the two that we get the most questions about. Are there plans to add lights at the dog park? So the dog park's temporary, so we're not going to, you know, install permanent lighting out there. But I understand it's 7 o'clock, it's dark. Last time we were all here, it was August and the sun was out. So if you would have asked me back then, I said, no, it's, you know, there's plenty of light. But looking at it now, so I've asked Stephanie and the association team to go out and see if we could get some solar lights. I'm not saying we're going to install it, but we need to look at what the cost is to do that before we say okay to doing that. But that was a good question. What is the timeline for Google Fiber availability in Easton Park? So those of you that have been here for a long time, that we used to get this question probably every town hall, and then it went away because Google it was in the news, I think right before COVID, that they weren't going to be doing it anymore. Well, guess what? They are starting back up their fiber installs. So it's really on them. As a developer, we've been contacting, shouldn't say we, AJ has been contacting Google and is making sure that we are on their list. and we are more than happy to work with them to get Google Fiber out here. So the ball is in their court. As a developer, we're fully open to having them come and install out here. I'm gonna throw this one to Brad, with the change in that, I'm giving him like the super softball questions, so. With the change in the housing market, are you expecting construction to decrease, or will there be more houses left unfinished?
Okay, construction to decrease, yes. And by that, I mean really the pace and the number of homes that are being built, and I'll come back to that. But the second half of that question, where there'll be houses left unfinished, absolutely not. Okay, a couple of reasons behind both of those two questions. Yes, the pace of housing is going to decrease. I mean, we're either in or about to go into a recession. When that happens, real estate in general typically slows down. That is kind of a typical reaction to the market cycle. The difference this time versus last time is home builders, and again, we're home builders as well as a developer, and so we're pretty close to this stuff. The economic strength of home builders now is significantly different than it was in the last cycle. So there is almost zero chance that you'll see any homes left unfinished. And I would tell you, if a home builder got themselves overextended and did not have the ability to finish those homes, there's a bunch of other people that'll be very willing to buy those homes at a very deep discount, finish them on their behalf, and then sell them to the community. So I don't think there's any worry that we should have about homes being left unfinished, but it is a reality of the market cycle that we're in. As you go through a recession, you will see slower home sales for 12, 18, 24 months, and then we'll be back into an expansion cycle again. I think the good news is that we live in Central Texas. So all the things that made Austin and Central Texas a desirable place to live 12 months ago are still very much in place today. The only thing, this is my editorial now, the only thing that changed is the Fed raised interest rates. Nothing else changed. We still have a good political environment, a good economic environment, a good quality of life. We still have good weather. We still don't have tornadoes, earthquakes, floods, or things of that nature. So all the things that make this a good place to live are still here. The one variable that changed is interest rates. Well, interest rates have a big impact on real estate. So we're going to go through a recession, and that's going to be okay. But I don't see any long-term headwinds that aren't going to be really good for all of us in this broader Austin market for many years to come. We should be just fine.
Yeah, I don't think you'll see a 2007.
No.
And I think maybe that's where this question came back, is flashbacks of
Sure.
homes sitting there with waterproofing wrap around it and flying in the wind and all that. That's not to be expected in this community.
And as Matt said before, don't take our word for it. Do some investigating online. And if you follow any of the major stock analysts that cover the home building industry, you won't see anything that relates to that type of doom and gloom. It's really just a function of home builder velocity, and home builder margins are going to compress a little bit.
Are there any renderings or any development update for Retreat at Easton Park, which is I believe the name of the complex by Union Park West? No, we don't have anything. I would recommend if you jump on the Hines website, they might have something up there, but there's nothing that we have on that. What is the timeline for Slaughter Lane construction? So we're moving ahead with permitting. But it won't be built until traffic warrant it. Are there any updates on the gated section within Easton Park? So there will be one gated community that is going to be a build for rent. I think they're going to have a gate. Oh, they're not going to have a gate now. Okay. Oh, Ariza? Okay. Okay, yeah, but other than that, there's no plans for, I don't even think we're allowed to have, part of our development deal was to not have gated sections within Easton Park for homes, single family for sale homes. So whoever asked that question, if you want to re-ask it with maybe give us some more clarification on what you were looking for. What is the timeline for completion of the model home construction? I mean, each builder kind of finishes up their stuff. We had a grand opening.
Pretty done.
Yeah, on Saturday, where folks were able to go out there and take a look. Those of you that came out to the Easton Made event. So, yeah, they're either done or they'll be done here pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
What will be developed in the Something Awesome is Coming lot on Skytree? Something awesome. Really what we're trying to do, wherever you see the big red benches, we're trying to show your future neighbors, hey, look at, this is gonna be a big community. This isn't, you know, a small spot. This is gonna be a pretty large community, and those areas are coming soon. What are the landscape plans along William Cannon to help eliminate noise and the car lights? So there's no plans to eliminate noise out there. The existing stone walls are as much as can be done for sound. We are adding a few trees along the walls on the eastern edge for blocking out some lights. And if you want to throw more trees in your backyard, just, you know, submit an ACC application if you want to shade it some more. What is the update for the underpass on William Cannon from Bryant Park and Nob Hill? Still working on those. And again, once we get the permit, we'll start working on that project and William Cannon to be completed as well. So, which is our next question. What is the timeline for the completion of William Cannon? So most of the construction will be done this year. Then we'll start doing the landscape installs. So the road will be still closed during that time to let the landscapers install the landscape. And then it'll go through the exception or the inspection and acceptance phase with the county. So once they accept it, then it's their road. It's not the developer's road. It's not Easton Park's road. It's the county's road. So we're required to build it, and they're required to open it. I skip over.
You're good. Next one is,
The traffic signals at the end. I promised somebody that we'll talk about the traffic signal. That is the very last question. I thought it was included in that one. Can you explain how roads are designed and approved? No. The very simple thing is any development, when you start, you do a traffic impact analysis, submit that to the county, and in our instance, city and county, they review it, they approve it, and then the streets are built. Yeah, it's a pretty tedious process, but I don't want to bore everybody. Feel free to check it out online, but it is a comprehensive analysis done by engineers, way smarter than I am. When will the entrance to CVS from William Cannon open? I believe that entrance is open.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's good. And then any updates on the traffic signal at William Cannon and Colton Bluff? So the temporary layout was approved by the city and will be installed soon. The final signal layout is being built with the construction project and will be functional when the county opens that road. So once the road's open, the signal will be working. Is that it? Oh, the emergency crash gate at Union Park East? Any update? No. I believe that's the same thing, traffic warrants requiring safety, probably require a install of a, not a light, but
four-way stop sign.
probably a four-way stop over there.
So I can expand on that a little bit. That's a high priority for us as well. When we open that gate into Union Park East, what that will then allow for is a four-way stop sign at that intersection. Why that's so important to us is because that's where kids walking to elementary school cross that road. So we were talking about, AJ and I were talking about this just this morning. We have a great relationship with Principal Frida at the school, as well as their operations team at Dale Valley ISD, and we'll be talking with them maybe before the year is out, but likely early January, or getting back in touch with them about doing some studies in conjunction with the school district to provide Travis County the data they need to support the stop sign. If they would allow us to put up a stop sign, it would have been done a long time ago. We have to prove it to the county. They've got to review it and say, okay, we agree. And then we move forward to put that stop sign in. We are a strong supporter of that, and we're working with the school district to add their voice to that conversation too.
Eaton Park needs to get a sign.
Going to get us something?
Yes.
Facebook group, I'm just asking.
Wasn't that one of the questions?
Yes, Union Park East will get a sign. It's gonna be at the linear park, between the two halves. The only other spot we could have put it that the county would have been okay with would have been right in front of somebody's window. And yeah, so we're not doing that. I did ask, but yeah, we're not gonna do that. We'll put it by the park, and that should be soon-ish. Yeah, around the same time.
So I did email you guys a question about the parking policy 2.5 weeks ago, and I never got an answer, so I wanted to bring it up now real quick. So in your language, it said, no garage may be enclosed or used for any purpose that prevents the parking of the maximum number of vehicles for which the garage was constructed. So I actually have my garage measured by Travis County, and they said that by construction standards in the United States, they're actually all of the garages in Union Park East are 1.5 car garages. So how does the HOA plan on handling, how do you measure 1.5 car garages is the first half of the question. And the second half is that the wheelchair ramp is actually facing the wrong direction. According to Travis County, it should be facing the other direction. It should go to the left. And to park a sedan fully into the garage, it actually inhibits ADA compliance. So how, John, a second to answer that. How are you going to get the 1.5 cars?
So the intended use is to park vehicles, and the spirit of that is not turning it into something it shouldn't be. So an ADU, accessory dwelling unit, right? That's ADU. Turning it into, apartment or something like that. As long as a vehicle can park in the garage is what that's the spirit of that. Nobody's.
Well, so what if somebody has 2 cars who lives in Union Park East,
Okay.
and it's a 1.5 car garage overnight in Travis County? What is the other person supposed to do with, what do we do with the second car?
There's additional parking all around
You
the
guys said-
community.
No, I'm saying you've been permitting in your language as well. So are we gonna have to apply for permitting?
No, there isn't permitted parking on there.
I think that language you referenced, the park policy says you cannot enclose.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's intended to be walled off and put a door there and make it an apartment.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
close the garage.
I'm not talking about closing the garage. I'm just saying, so you're not gonna permit. parking?
No.
Well, because it said it in the same document.
Yeah, we took that out. So,
I think,
yeah, we never intended for there to be permit parking. That turns into a massive headache for everybody. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, that is correct.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. Gentleman up here in the front's been waiting.
Discovery car.
The housing market's slowing down. Right? Because all the construction that's left out there is our lots. So, I couldn't give you a timeline for homes being built out there. I don't think that section's sold out
I'll
yet.
take a stab at it. So we've started a home on every lot that Brookfield owns. I've had a couple conversations with all of our builder partners, and I think they've probably started the majority of the homes on lots that they own. So that would say, and again, we're not going to start a home and then stop it, right? My comment earlier. So We're down to the last homes that just have to finish being built. And so that's probably within the next 12 months. All the nails. And yeah, unfortunately, that comes with the territory, moving into a new community that has new construction taking place. I'm sorry about the nails if you got to pick up in your tire. I'm sorry, ma'am. I think that's what I was trying to say. I think it's at least another 12 months until all the homes are finished and then sold to the future families that will live in those homes. So there's still a bit of construction ahead of us.
All the time
Mhm.
by residents. Is there anything, any plan, I mean, some of the cars literally just don't move, like, I know.
Yeah.
It's been there for months and months and months.
I think the policy has an abandoned car.
Right, but it's something, it's down, it's holding nothing. It's also just.
That was because we didn't have the towing policy. Yeah.
The tax
Can
policy
you
is
just briefly go over the towing policy just real quick? Can you just briefly go over the towing policy? We didn't get an email saying what it was.
Well, so is that parking, can residents park there and just use that as their spot?
So it is open parking is what it is considered, but,
I need you to come over here.
oh, sorry. That parking is open parking, so anybody can park there, which is why we're having to monitor if they are abandoned cars. We will actually go through the process of towing at that time. We had to have the towing policy in place before we could actually tow the vehicles.
Can you just briefly tell us?
Don't park in the red zone.
Right, well, that's not.
Yeah.
And we have. Yeah, and we have.
Yeah.
People that park on the sidewalk that has blocked a family member who's handicapped and needs to get down the sidewalk. We've, several emails and it's all we don't know what we can do, we can. Like, go for the nose, do something, Chris, like.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. And
Absolutely,
guest
and-
parking, we have people come over and we tell them to park on this main street because we don't want to, we don't have guest parking because the same person starts to drive. And we, again, I have an SUV, he has a regular car. They have two SUVs and they both fit in the garage. The reason these cars don't fit in the garage is because it's a bunch of crap stored in their garage. Like, it's supposed to be a garage for cars. I just feel like there should be some sort of enforcement.
Now that we have the towing policy in place, you will start seeing that things are going to start getting enforced that way.
So before, there was someone else that raised their hand in the back.
Is that a fire truck right there?
Okay, so we're not gonna, if you want to talk about towing, we can talk about it after the town hall. Town hall is for everybody, so I want to make sure I don't want to speak about a specific association. Yes, sir.
I don't know if you guys talk about it with spot on in places, but when, I've heard that you guys approved it, when is it, and where is it, and what's the word on that?
So I think Matt McCafferty talked about that a little bit. Just that, is there going to be another amenity? Yes. Where will it be? It'll be once we go into the new section. What that is, no idea. We're just now starting to have conversations about that. Yeah. But again, I'm going to plug it. Livability, fill out that survey.
Well, the town said, no, and candidly, the change in the real estate market probably slowed our plans down, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be a mixed use area. So we'll have retail. We have ambitions to hopefully have a potential hotel. This is all very potential, so don't write this down and hold me to it. But we have ambitions to have some pretty exciting stuff there, but with the change in the economy, all that kind of got pushed out a little bit. Yep.
Was it a towing question? We'll connect with you after. I'll definitely connect with you after. Yes, sir.
To be in Canada, once the new westbound lanes are open, I assume that when you get close to, Key Falls, it's still gonna be that switcheroo thing going on.
Yeah.
Is that, can nothing happen on that until the city of Austin Because there's that, you can do that when they're 2%.
So the question was, and sorry, was about William Canyon and where it meets at McKinney Falls and are you still gonna have to do the what's it, where we're blending on one side? And the answer to that is yes. Until the city improves their side, we can't do anything. When the city improves their side, AJ, I'm looking at him. Yeah, so,
Yeah, we have no
yeah.
idea.
Unfortunately, yeah, we don't have that information. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Did we have any online questions? Where the permanent one is going? No, I don't think yet. Yeah. So you can say it will be. Yeah. Yeah, there will be a permanent dog park, so you can record this and play it back to me in 5 years when I say, we're not putting a dog park in. No, I'm kidding. You will have a permanent dog park. It's just, we don't know where it's gonna be yet. Yes, ma'am. That's the plan. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all. Oh, any online questions?
We do have a few. See, this is towing policy. Says, how is there a loss given the 1% mud rate?
We're not the mud. We don't get our money from the mud. So yeah, the mud is completely different from the association. Well, I take that back. We do receive funds from the mud. I think this year it's like 140-ish thousand for landscaping. We have a lease with the mud. The mud owns all the land here except for the building we're sitting in and the land we're sitting on. But the association and the mud have an agreement for the maintenance of all the parks and all that.
Some of these questions are for Union Park West, and
Okay.
we actually have Union Park West Town Hall next Wednesday. So I will make sure that these questions in here that we get them answered.
Capture those. All right, one last question. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so association, but I think, it's like reserve study, so because there's a plan to increase the reserves over time.
Yep.
Is that available? Because I didn't see it on paper, and that would
Yeah.
be interesting. Be able to know what that's gonna look like, understanding the operating costs will flex, but.
Yeah. So the question was, are the financials available online, which they are, right? They are,
Yes.
yeah. And then is the reserve study available and have we done it? Yes, we have done one. I don't know if the full study is available, but we could probably put this financial snapshot up there. You're going to see we're funding below the recommendation. If we didn't, your assessments would have probably went up about $20 this year if we hit that recommended number, because it was around $1.2 million, I think. What's nice is we're still in development, right? So as a developer, we're not going to let this place go, to whatever in a handbasket. So, we're going to keep it nice, but that's why I'm saying we need to first close that subsidy gap. And then once we close that subsidy gap, then we'll start building those reserves larger and larger every year. Those of you recall, I think it was last year, we did the enhancement fee increase. We went from a 0.0005 to a 0.05, so half of 1% now. That number is going to fund parts of reserves, but that's also going to fund almost 100% of all the lifestyle in the community. So that will free up a big chunk of dollars that can then go into reserves instead of going to the lifestyle portion. So we have a plan. We did a build out budget, 20+ year build out budget for this community. So we've known from day one where we're going, and we're heading in that direction. So thank you, everybody. Have a great evening. If you have any additional questions in the room, I'm happy to answer them. And then if you have any questions online, please feel free to reach out to the team. Thank you. Have a good night.